Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
It's that time again.
Absolutely. How you doing, Liz?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
You ready for today?
We're ready. A lot of info today, so we're gonna get through it. So again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope I had a great Thanksgiving. People still recovering from that, right?
Yeah, everyone's still recovering from it.
Yes.
It's funny. And all the turkey and the sandwiches. And how many different ways can you eat turkey? Comment below. How many?
Exactly. Sandwich, rice, everything, right?
I saw somebody putting it in empanadas and making empanadas with the turkey inside.
Oh, yeah, that could work. Absolutely.
I know. Okay, Alex is saying, let's go. Let's go.
How you doing?
Started. Alistair's on. Thank you so much for always being on. Now, today I'm going to be honest. Yes, good evening. Good evening, Derwin. I'm going to be honest. I am not your IRA kind of girl. So this whole episode today, you're going to do a lot of the talking because it's confusing to me. And I'm excited about getting some knowledge on our topic today. And what are we talking about?
Absolutely. We're going to talk about, we're going to simplify. I know it's very confusing a lot of times. Like, well, how does tax deduct? Which IRA works better? How's that work? And a lot of people are kind of very confused about that. So we're going to kind of actually simplify it so anyone can understand it and show you the difference, the advantages of each, and which one kind of best fits the person's situation.
Okay, that sounds good. So guys, get ready, grab your paper and pen. I have mine. Don't forget to like, to share, to comment, to share this with some folks because we are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube. We're doing all the things. Yay. Actually, I do have a little applause here. I think we're going to have, I think this deserves the applause. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get started with our topic today.
Yes. Let's talk about deferred taxes. There's three things that really affect your money, right? Which is taxation, which we're going to talk about, inflation, and market fluctuation. Those three things that affect your money. Now, the past couple episodes, we talked about ways to use market fluctuation in your advantage. We talked about the ways to beat inflation, have money work for you so you can beat inflation. So we're going to talk about how to defer taxes. You can't avoid taxes. That's illegal, right? You go to jail, but you can defer taxes or pay less taxes, ways to minimize your taxes. So let's take a look at different options. People ask me all the time, definition. What's the difference between deductibility and deferrability? Was it tax deduction versus a tax deferral? And here's what a deduction. A deduction is the amount of money that you can subtract from your gross income before you calculate taxes, right? So the more you can reduce your gross income with deduction, the less amount of taxes less amount you pay taxes on, right? So it pays to deduct, but you also have to remember to contact your tax advisor because we're not tax advisors. So you might have to sit down with your tax advisor, your accountant to see which one kind of fits your personal situation. So how does that work? So let's say, for example, someone's making $50,000, $60,000 a year. Okay. So you can deduct. So let's say they contribute, let's say $5,000 towards a traditional IRA. So they can take the $50,000, they can deduct the $5,000 from the $50,000. So what happens, Liz? They're not gonna get taxed on $50,000. Now they're gonna get taxed on $45,000. So because it lowers your tax bracket, you end up paying less taxes in the long run, right? That's kind of ways to explain it. Versus tax deferral also means you can postpone payment of your current tax until a later date in the future, commonly at retirement. See, the great thing about deferring taxes to retirement is the experience you will be in a lower tax bracket that you have to pay taxes on the money. So the goal of tax deferral is, number one, is the interest you earn, because as your money grows, usually you pay taxes on the growth of your money, right? So tax deferral allows you that you do not have to pay taxes on the growth of your money, but you're able to take and then in the future, when you take your money at retirement, which is usually 59.5 or more, then you can start paying taxes. And the goal is at that point, you'll be at a lower tax bracket when you take your money out, which is the benefit. Okay. So let's talk about 3 different IRAs out there, right? So let's take a look at it. There's 3 different IRAs out there, right? For average person. Number one is a traditional IRA, right? Which is a deductible IRA, which your taxes savings now. So you can deduct it at the end of the year on your taxes, whatever you contribute towards it. And you also, you don't pay taxes on it, on the money when you take the money at retirement, right? That's a deductible IRA. Now let's talk about traditional IRA, which is a non-deductible IRA, which is the benefits. If you earn taxes, the earnings you get on that money is tax deferred until retirement, but you can't deduct it. So this is for someone from high income earners, which I'm going to show you the next slides, right? Versus we call a Roth IRA, which is probably one of the most popular IRA out there. So it's non-deductible. See, the benefit of the Roth IRA, which contributions are not deductible. That means you can't deduct it on your taxes, right? But you receive a tax deferral on your earnings. That means the interest you earn on your money, you pay 0 taxes. You don't pay any taxes on it. Plus, also, when you take the money out in the future, you pay no taxes on it. You pay 0 taxes when you take the money out. Okay? Now, which one kind of best fits your situation? Let's look at the advantages on the next slide. Now, the benefits of a traditional IRA. So let's say by saving your money, by giving you and your spouse, the benefit of IRAs, people are not even aware of. If you're married and you file taxes jointly, for example, you can deduct the match. You can deduct to $7,000 a year on a traditional IRA, and your spouse also can deduct $7,000 a year, up to $7,000 a year. So you can deduct a total of $14,000 a year from your income, right? If you meet certain income requirements, which I'm gonna show you what they are, so that reduces your taxable income, right? So let's say for someone files jointly, right, and they deduct, let's say, a total of $14,000 on their traditional IRA. They make $100,000 jointly, so they can deduct $14,000 from the $100,000. Now they're only gonna get taxed on $86,000, which totally lowers that tax bracket. And they'll just tax when they take the money out of retirement. Okay.
That's the traditional
traditional IRA, yes. Right. Now there's a traditional non-deductible IRA. See, because there's actually some people that might earn more lot of income. So there might be some people out there which they might making over the income like $300,000 a year, $400,000, over $230,000 a year, for example. And they want to be able to put extra money towards their retirement and not have their money taxed. Okay. So they're actually allowed to put money in the IRA. They can put them and their spouse up to $14,000 a year, right? If they're over 50, they can add an extra $1,000 each, which is $16,000, which we're going to talk about that. So what that does, that allows them to have money, so they don't pay taxes on the earnings on their money, and their money's protected. A lot of people don't realize that. Let's say any retirement money you can't get. Let's say if someone has you're a victim of your lawsuit, for example, they can't touch your retirement money. So they can't touch it. There's a lot of people, they want to contribute towards a non-deductible IRA, even though they don't get immediate benefit like a tax deductibility because they're high income. They want to listen. I want to put as much money as possible in a retirement. Why? Because let's say, God forbid, something happens, you get sued. They can't touch that money. Right? So that protects them. Okay. Again, that's a little tip also. Now, let's look at a Roth IRA. See, the great thing about a Roth IRA, your contributions are not deducted because you receive tax before on the earnings tax, which what happens is it's after tax. Roth IRA is after tax. That means you already got taxed already. Now, your take-home pay, whatever you do, your take-home pay, you contribute towards the Roth IRA. So you already get taxed on it, so now you're going to tax on it again, right? Which is benefits. Now, the great thing about that is you're not going to get taxed as long as you meet certain income requirements, of course. and your contribution are available at any time without penalty. So whatever money you put in a Roth IRA, you can take it out without any penalties.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that flexibility, and there's not any requirement distribution. Like, for example, there's something called required minimum distribution. That means when you now it's age 70, when you're 73, you have to start taking money out of your retirement plans.
Oh, wait, say that again.
When you are 73 years old, you have to start taking money out of your retirement plans. You're required by a certain percentage, take money out of your retirement plan, which they call RMDs, which is required minimum distributions, because they say, listen, because they don't want you to defer here's what the IRS is saying. Listen, we're going to allow you to invest money for your retirement,
but you gotta
take. What we're going to do, when we're even going to allow you to interest you earn on that money, we're not going to tax you on the interest you earned on that money. But when you take the money out, we want our money. Makes sense, right? We want our money. So they don't want anyone to, let's say, because there's some people, maybe they have money in retirement, but they don't really need the money. So they don't want that person to, okay, you work for 40 years, 30, 40 years. We did not charge you any tax. You got some tax benefits. Now it's time to pay the piper. Makes sense, right? It's time to pay Uncle Sam. So you're going to have to take money out when you're 73. Okay. Wow. So that's the key tax. So the good thing about a Roth IRA, and let's talk about the tax treatments, how they benefits, right? Let's look at if you look at the first column, it talks about contribution limits for 2024, the deductibility, earnings, right? Retirement, right? So let's take a look at each of them. A traditional IRA, you can contribute up to $7,000 a year per person. Okay. And a traditional IRA. So if you're married, 7 and 7. Now, for us that are older, 50 and above, right? They allow us to add an extra $1,000 on top of that. So if you're over 50, you could put $8,000 a year, right, in a traditional, and also $8,000 for your wife, so your spouse or husband and wife. So it's $16,000, right? The next part we talk about is deductible, right? There's some income limits is deductible, right? And earnings is also tax deferred, because as your retirement grows, as your IRA investments grow, you're not going to get taxed on the investment, right? But retirement withdrawals are taxable. That means you're 59 and a half. You guys can take a screenshot. It's taxable when you're 59 and a half up, right? And also you have to start taking distribution at 73, which I just mentioned before, which is RMDs, right? Now, what's a Roth IRA? Same thing. The Roth IRA, you could $7,000 a year in a Roth IRA, right? So $14,000 between husband and wife, right? $16,000 and $50,000. It's non-deductible because you can't deduct it on your taxes because it's non-deductible, but it's tax deferred. Also, the interest earns it's tax deferred. And guess what happens also? It's tax-free. So what's the difference? People say, well, what is, for example, let's say if you've been putting 6, 7, whatever amount of money towards your traditional IRA, Roth IRA. So the benefits are, so let's say if you have $500,000 in a Roth IRA, right? Versus 5,000 traditional IRA, you're going to get taxed 5,000 a traditional IRA. So let's say if you had a 20% tax bracket, so round it off, out of 500,000, they're going to take 100,000 from that. You're going to pay that in taxes. Versus if you have $500,000 in a Roth IRA, it's tax free. You pay zero money on the taxes. So what is the pros and cons? You have to ask yourself a question. Do you want a tax deduction now or later on? Now, the great part about that is, which is, I think, the benefits of a Roth IRA is we don't know what the tax rates are going to be. Let's say 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. We don't really know.
Very true.
It might be a lower tax bracket now, but when you retire, we might be at a higher tax. We don't know what's going to happen. It's unknown. So you might be a higher tax bracket later on. So the benefits you're getting, the tax benefits you're getting now may not outweigh how much you're going to pay taxes in the future, right? Versus a Roth IRA, it doesn't matter what happens. You pay zero taxes. So I always joke around and say, listen, the great thing about a Roth IRA is government proof. It's Democrat proof, Republican proof. It doesn't matter who's in power. It doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't affect your money. So the way I look at it, for me, benefit. If you can contribute towards the Roth, absolutely, because guess what? You have more flexibility with the money, and also you have to, on top, you have flexibility with the money. And also on top of that, you don't have to worry about any taxes and any unknowns, right? Which is the benefits of that. Now, what's the difference between tax deferred? There's taxable account. There's accounts out there that are not tax deferred accounts. That means you actually pay capital gains on the interest every year. So as your account grows every year, you're going to pay taxes on the interest you earn. Now, what does that mean over a period of time, right? So let's take a look at it. If someone invested $10,000 a year, let's use that $10,000 a year for 30 years, and let's say they got a 9% rate of return. If that money was taxable, if that money was tax deferred, they would have $1.5 million in, right? $1.5 million at that point in time in 30 years.
Wow.
Because it was deferred. Versus if they pay taxes on it, so if they pay capital gains tax on it, they would have $739,000. It's more than half tax would come out of that money. So this is why you want to be able to have as much money tax deferred as possible. You max out, I always tell people, max out the amount of money you can have tax deferred, but when you take the money out, right? So you're more flexible versus why would you want to pay taxes on the interest you're earning right now?
Right.
So it does affect you. So that's why I tell people, max out your tax deferred accounts. And if you have any money left over, then there's other strategies also that can maybe reduce your tax bracket. So everybody's different. Again, I always tell people, consult your tax advisor and see what best fits your situation. Okay, because everybody's not the same, everybody's different. And this is a small slide, kind of tells you the limits that you're gonna get. For example, I can't even see that well, but I'll kind of summarize it for you, right? I'm getting older, right? So for example, what are the limits, right? So let's say, I'm just gonna round it off. If you put a traditional, if someone's filing single, you can actually $87,000 a year for a traditional IRA, right? That's the max your contribution. Versus, and also $143,000 if you're filing jointly in traditional IRA. So if you're filing joint traditional IRA, the max is $143,000, which is your AGI, right? Now, if you look at the Roth IRA, it's a little bit more, right? It's up to $230,000. Okay, if you file joint, right? And this tells you 401k. Well, how does a 401k work? A 401k is pre-tax, right? So what does that actually mean? It kind of works the same way it's not taxable, it's pre-tax. What does that actually mean? So let's say, for example, your gross income is $1,000 a week, right? So a gross income, so you're making about $1,000 a week, gross income. So let's say someone decides, you know what, I want to contribute 10% towards my 401k. So what they're gonna do is 10%. So they're gonna take your gross income, so 10,000. So they're gonna take 10% from 10,000. No, I'm sorry, 1,000. So I mean that's $1,000, right? What that means is they're gonna take $1,000, put towards your 401k. So you're only gonna get taxed. You're only gonna get taxed on 9,000. On 900. I'm sorry, 900. I'm good. 10,000. Good. $900, right? You're gonna get taxed on $900. So that lowers your tax bracket. So you get taxed on less money. So it allows you to have pre-tax money, your money invested in a 401k. Now you can put up to 23,000 in 401k if I can see the number right. It's 23,000 in 401k. Now people ask me all the time, should I? The magic question: should I contribute towards my 401k or should I open up an IRA instead? Or Roth IRA? That's the magic question. I'm gonna answer that question. It all depends. And I always say yes, do both, because you can have both 401k and an IRA. Now, when is it better? Let's say if someone's like, listen, I can't do both. I got to pick one. Here's what I always recommend. A lot of companies, they offer like a match. Like if you put a certain amount of money and they'll match it by like 5% or 10%. I always tell if a company matches, right, 100% contribute towards a 401k. Because if they match, it's like you're getting extra money from the company. So your money is actually growing. You're getting extra money from the company. So take advantage of it as much as you can. Okay. Now, let's say you have a 401k where it doesn't match. The company may not match, right? Or you're contributing less than $6,000, $7,000 a year. I always say, listen, in that case, if you don't need, like I said, if you don't need the tax benefit now, the tax advantages. Now, I would say instead of putting a 401k out, everybody's different, right? Consult your tax advisor, but I would contribute towards a Roth IRA. Why? Because you have more flexibility. Your money goes tax deferred, the same as a 401k, but when you take it out, it's also tax free.
Very good
benefit. So if you don't need the tax benefit now, if you say, you know what, I really don't need, or it's not, if you when you sit down with your tax advisor and you weigh how much you're saving in taxes versus in the long run, then you kind of outweigh which one makes sense. Okay. Then you say, you know what, maybe Roth might be better for you. Makes sense? Which is good. Now let's take a look at next slide. Right, this is what we talked about last week. This is why last week I think we this is a slide I wanted to go over, right? And we didn't get a chance, but I said let me put it towards the end so kind of get see it, right? How the most important, we talk about dollar cost average, make sure you're staying consistent. We talked about those principles. This is the actual facts. This is actually what happens. This is, I'm going to read it for you. This is a tale of 5 investors, right? Let's say for the benefit, this shows the benefit of long-term investing. Now, the 5 investors, they each invested $10,000 in the market. It's September 2008, right? As you guys remember, in September 2008, the market, guess what? We went to crash, right? That's what happened, right? So in 2000, and they kept their investments, right? They invested $10,000 and they kept their investment to the market crash in February 2009. And by the end of March of 2000, by end of March 2009, each investor was left with $5,800. So they invested $10,000 because the market went down. Now they were left with $5,800, right? And let's look at 3 different decisions, how 5 different scenarios. They reacted differently to each scenario, right? So let's take a look at it. Investor 1, guess what they did? They took and this is what happened at the end, right? This is where they are at the end of what? 2019, over a period of time, right? Investor 1, which a lot of people did, believe it, unfortunately, Liz.
Yes, let me say it. He invested and then took the money out and put it under the mattress.
Yes, he said, that's it. It's a scam, and I lost my money. I'm gonna take the $5,800. I'm gonna take it and put under the mattress. And guess how much they had?
Because it got scared.
$5,800, right? Fast forward, right? How much they had? $5,800. It didn't change. It didn't grow. As a matter of fact, they lost money because inflation is how much? Yeah. Right? Inflation is a huge difference. So because of the value of money, they actually lost, right? Which is challenging. And investor 2, right? Guess what they did? They sold the investment, right? And put it in a bank, in a CD or something. They said, that's it. I need it secure. That is it. Guess what they did? They took the $5,800 and they said, I'm putting in CDs. I'm gonna put something guaranteed. I'm a guaranteed, right? Guess what they did? At the end of what? 2023, right? They would have $6,500. A whole $5,800 grew to a whopping $6,500. How exciting is that? It didn't work, right? Now, investor 3, they say, you know what? Which I told people, which is the best thing to do, right? I told people, don't take your money out. They kept the money there. They said, we lost. We spoke last week. Said, listen, you only lose money when you take the money out.
Right.
There's a difference between paper loss and actual loss. Paper loss is you see them, but when actual loss is when you take the money out, you actually lose, right? So guess what they did? They didn't touch that and say, you know what? I'm going to keep it. It's for long term. Nothing has changed. It's money for my retirement. I'm going to keep the $5,800. That $5,800, if they left it, grew to actual $50,000.
Which isn't bad.
So think about it. They invested $10,000. Now they have $50,000. So on more than 5 times more. Because they kept the money there. They didn't take the money out.
And they weren't making an investment.
Yes.
Left it.
They left it. They left it. They just kept the money. They didn't add any more. They just kept the money there.
Gotcha.
Right? Investor 4. Guess what they did? They actually took the money, put it in CD, but they kept putting money aside. They kept putting $500-$600 every month. Right? They kept putting money. Say, you know what? I'm going to take it. I was investing money. Let me just save it somewhere more secure. So they grew to $120,000. Right? But let's take a look at Investor 5, which is the best kind, which is the investor you want to say, you know what? They understood. This is why now they say what you don't know will definitely hurt you when it comes to your money. They understood what we talked about last week, Liz. Dollar cost averaging. Man, I'm investing money. I'm gonna invest money every month. It's a sale. I'm gonna buy more shares with the money I'm investing. And guess what happened? Investor 5 kept putting the same amount of money as Investor 4, but guess what? Instead of having 120,000, they have $349,000.
Yeah, that's real nice, man. That's real nice. Yeah, yes. I want to be Investor 5.
Yes, Investor 5. That's why I tell people, don't look at it. Keep investing your money.
Yes. Yulisa, yes, definitely come back later and start from the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go back and see it. So that's the best part about that. Stay consistent. Staying consistent. Don't make foolish decisions. When you invest, if your investment or if your investment goals have not changed, don't do, as a matter of fact, invest more money. When you see, oh, the market is going down, man, that's the time to say, I'm gonna invest more because I'm getting at a discount. I'm buying shares at a discount.
True.
Right? It's like that's the way I look at it. So a lot of people that understand this concept, right? They say, wow. When they hear in the news, oh my gosh, your market went down. Oh my gosh, let me invest more money. And guess what happened? This is how you have your money grow. And this is how you'll be able to be. We talked about discipline. We talk about dollar cost averaging, right? We talk about those concepts, which is so important, right? If you stay consistent, discipline and dollar cost average, diversification. We talk about diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Mutual funds are a good way to you take advantage of diversification. Discipline, you stay consistent. Don't make any sudden changes, right? Don't invest with your head, not the headlines.
Right.
Invest with your head, not the headlines, right? And you stay consistent with dollar cost average. You're taking advantage. You're investing money either every week or every month. Like, stay consistent. You will see how you're going to win the money game.
This is great information. Derwin says this is awesome info, Coach. This is for free. Thank you.
I know, right? It's like people tell me, I'm like, I just listen. If they want to learn more, they can reach out to me, and I'll sit down with them individually. But that's something that is so important. Yes.
And I like that Alistair said also that, consistency is key.
Yes.
Consistency is key. We have a question. Here we go. Yes. Who sets up a retirement plan? And what questions do you ask a tax preparer? Because I've heard you say that since we started the podcast, you've said multiple times as a push and kind of like a warning and kind of saying, contact your tax advisor. I wrote it down because you said it like 5 times. So what's the difference? A tax advisor, tax preparer?
Sometimes a tax preparer, they just do the taxes. They just prepare taxes. Sometimes they may not. And it's kind of, it's not common. It's the same person, but it's different experiences. Work with someone that has experience. Work with someone that has experience so they can run the numbers and you can let them know, listen, I want a tax deduction. I want to have money back. I want to get a refund. If that's really that important to you to kind of get a refund or something like that. So you have to like weigh it out versus, and I always tell people, listen, people focus so much on a refund, and they actually, and the trick about a refund, a lot of times you think you're getting free money from the government. That's why people think, oh my gosh, I'm getting a refund. They swear like, oh my gosh, I like the government give you money, some money that it's your money they took. What they did, they took your money every week out of your check, right? Here's what the government does. I don't trust you, Liz, to pay your taxes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure your boss takes money from a check every single week or every 2 weeks, and I'm going to hold it for you. But when I'm holding, I'm going to invest the money myself. I'm going to earn interest on your money. I'm going to keep the interest, and I will give it back to you at the end of the year if we feel like we took a little too much.
Crazy.
But we get excited because we condition. Oh my gosh, and everybody, it's crazy how everybody like gets excited around it's the funniest thing how everyone gets excited January 1st or 2nd January. Oh my gosh, I want my 1099. Everybody waiting for that. Everybody's waiting for the W-2s to get from their job so they can as soon as they get a chance to run to the tax guy to get a refund.
Well, how about that? How about that?
It's your money. Instead of saying, let me just invest the money. Let me have my money. How about I get the interest? How about I have my money grow?
Yes.
Instead, how about I have my money grow and I can use rather than give it to Uncle Sam, right? Uncle Sam to hold it for you for a period of time. So it's a mindset that we have to adjust. And that makes a huge difference. So
it's a good thing we have the Army Empire podcast to remind us of those things.
Absolutely. So go back to the question is you sit down with someone. The only person that can set up a retirement is someone that's licensed, investment license, that can set it up. That has securities or investment license that can set you up, that can set your retirement plan up. Nobody else. If someone says, "Oh, I have a life insurance plan and you can put for retirement," run as fast as possible. Run away. You cannot use life insurance for your retirement. You can't use that. If you want to retire, you need to use a retirement plan, which is an IRA, which is maybe an annuity, for example, a annuity, 401k or 403b. Or something. That's what we need to sit down with. If someone says, "I'm going to sell your life insurance policy as a retirement," run away from them. They're just trying to get a big commission out of you. Yes, I said it. They're trying to get a big commission out of you. And I don't know anyone to this day in 26 years in business. I'm going to say very controversial, but I'm very passionate about it. I don't know anyone that's able to retire off any cash value of a life insurance policy. I don't know anyone. I haven't seen no one has come to listen. This is someone that put money in life and not able to retire. No, I haven't seen anyone yet. But I've seen a lot of people get retire with money from their 401k.
Mm-hmm.
I see people that are able to retire because they put money in a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA. I've seen people that can retire because they put money in an annuity or some kind of annuity and plan. That I've seen. Okay, so I tell people stay away from that. You need to sit down with someone that's investment license that can set up a retirement plan for you. So
very good. That's the difference. Great answer to that question. That was really good. Great information today. Wow, IRAs. That's we went in. We went in. So good. We have lots of good information here and good questions. What do you mean? What do you mean invest your money instead of Uncle Sam doing it?
Well, for example, like one ways, and that's everybody's different. Something that people do. And this is everybody's different, and that's why to consult your tax advisor with that. But there's a way where you can actually, instead of, you can increase your allowance. You can go to your paycheck. You can increase your allowance. Okay, so your net pay will go up. So let's say, for example, you can increase your allowance, so you get taxed less money from your paycheck, and you're gonna have the extra money in your paycheck. Your net pay will go up. Take that net pay. Now, the smart thing to do is take that extra money, get in your net pay, set up in a Roth IRA. Absolutely. You put in a Roth IRA or an investment where your money can grow. So you actually do what Uncle Sam is doing. You are investing your money, have your money grow. Now, that means you might get a smaller refund or less, or it doesn't matter. We need to get our heads like getting a refund like you're winning. When you get a refund, you're actually losing.
So good.
You are losing. I'm sorry to say it. I know we look forward to it, and I understand. We've been there. But I'm sharing with you, getting a refund, you're losing because you actually give the government an interest-free loan.
Yeah, and you're sharing with us. You're sharing with us the attitude of folks when they get this refund as if they got really free money.
Yeah,
oh my God!
They hit the lottery. They hit the lottery. Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna go on vacation.
I'm
gonna go on vacation. It's not good. Yeah, that's your own money, girl. That's your own money, boy.
Yes, it's money to give back to you. You know,
this is the stuff they don't teach in college.
Yes, exactly. Imagine you got robbed. Oh my gosh! And somebody mugged you your money, and they give you money back. Oh my God! Thank you so much for giving my money back. Oh Lord, man, you're the best. You are heaven sent. No, how's that? But that's the mentality, and we have to get out of it. Have your money work for you. All right. So that makes a huge difference.
This was good. This was good, folks. We got some more good information today with this amazing podcast. This episode was fantastic. So good. And yeah, they don't understand what a refund is, and that is so true. They refund your money. They're funding it back to you.
They give it back to you. That's what actually it is.
Let's refund them the money that we took.
Absolutely.
This is so good. Thank you so much for shedding light to this. Taxes, the taxes that are yours, and you give it back. And you give it back when you stop, you travel, invest in yourself. Very good. Yes. So when you get that money, you put it into the Roth.
Invest that money, and this way you have your money grow for you. So you can now you get less, but refund is not good. Like I said, we need to recondition our minds that refunds are not good. So have your money working up front, so you can actually invest your money towards your future. And a lot of times, that's the best way to get as much as possible.
Yeah.
Next week, we're gonna have something a little different. Next week, we have a special guest. We're gonna have Anna from our group BNI. She's gonna come. She's a realtor. We're gonna talk about the power of home ownership, right? We talk about ways to build wealth, and ownership is very important. That's one of our principles, 5 rules for wealth. We call be an owner, not a loaner. So we're going to go in that sequence of being an owner, not a loaner. So we're going to talk about the benefits of doing that, or things that people are not aware of. Sometimes people feel like, oh my gosh, I can't own a home. I'm not ready, things like that. So there might be some things we're not aware of that they can actually do. There's so many different option benefits out there. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to have our expert, because I'm not an expert in real estate. That's not my field. Right, so we're going to talk about we're going to have a good friend of ours, right? She's she's incredible, out of the Central Florida. She's she's awesome. I'm going to talk about she's very good.
How do you say her last name?
Brigida Impiduglia. Right. I love saying it, right? She's Italian.
We love how Bernard says the name. You got it down. I cannot say.
I practice. I butchered it for like a month, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna get it right. I practice until I got it right.
You say it like an Italian man. You say it perfect. Yeah. So she'll be with us next week. So stay tuned. Stay connected. Absolutely. Stay connected to our Facebook page. Or if you're an Instagrammer, stay connected to the Instagram page. Or if you're all about that YouTube, go to the YouTube channel, stay connected, watch, catch the replay, ask questions. He always goes over to look at comments. Yes, owner, not a loaner. Going to be very interesting and knowledgeable. Yes, it will be. Yes. So you don't want to miss it. We'll see you guys next week, same exact time. Thank you, Bernard, for all your wisdom.
Guys, have a great one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition, and until then, keep building your empire.